Hello and welcome to the Pod Awakens, your Star Wars fan podcast. My name is Jordan Wiegand, and I have my good friend Logan Stump.
Howdy, howdy.
Hey, this is not a Western. This is a
Like
space.
it's
It's a
kind of
space
Western.
Western, though. It's a
Yeah.
space Western. You're right.
Yeah.
So howdy, we'll go with howdy today.
May the force be with you all.
We are recording this on December 16th, which is the night of the red carpet premiere at 8:30 Eastern time. So we're recording it about an hour and a half before the red carpet premiere starts. And then people are actually going to see this movie, and it's going to be crazy just knowing it's out there. Knowing that the Rise of Skywalker is out there for people to view. How you feeling about it? You feeling a little nervous? Feeling a little giddy? What's your feeling?
Well, I mean, if anybody has listened to Behind the Dreams podcast,
which this episode will be on as well. Yes.
Yes. If you go way back, I guess it was how many years ago was that?
2 years ago.
Holy cow.
2 years ago. Today. It was today.
Yeah.
We
really?
recorded
Oh
that.
yeah, that's right. Because it's actually on. It came back up on my Skype like 2 years ago today. I was like, all right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess if you go way back 2 years ago, I was one of the only ones on that whole podcast that didn't like it. I didn't really like Last Jedi, but that being said, I think Rise of Skywalker, I don't think it'll let me down. I think because JJ's got back at the helm, and I loved Force Awakens, as we'll get into, but I'm feeling really good about it. I'm feeling confident. It looks like old. I feel like. I mean, it's got kind of that.
It's
old
got the
feel.
same look as Force Awakens to me.
It does.
It really does. Like they're very like the look of The Last Jedi and Force Awakens is totally different from each other. When you look at just look and style, this looks more like The Force Awakens in style. I'm a little nervous.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm a little nervous. I think people have put that into my head. People put it into my head by saying people that have read the leaks have said it's not good. But here's the thing: people read the leaks of Endgame and said it wasn't good, and I love Endgame, so I don't care. So I'm nervous of just more turmoil after the 2 years we've had to deal with a split fan base. I don't want to continue like that. I want it to stick the landing so we can. If you stick the landing here, people might even look back at The Last Jedi better. It could add a different viewpoint of the movie. Who knows though? Well, I guess we'll see.
That's what I agree. Yeah. I mean, I just feel like there's so many. They can right so many wrongs. I think. Even if it's not wrong, I mean, so many people like Last Jedi, like you did.
Yeah.
But I think that there are some things that maybe the people that were on the other side that viewed it more as in a negative light can be fixed and thinking that it was a positive thing because it builds up to the story that's getting ready to come out.
Well, here's the thing too. I adore The Last Jedi, but I walked out of that theater and I could 100% see why people did not like it. I think I may have said that to you when we were texting the day I saw it. I think you were going the next day or whatever.
Yeah, you always see it.
I loved it, but I could see how it's going to be divisive. Is what I said. I was like, I could totally see this movie being divisive, and it is much divisive. The most divisive movie in all of Star Wars. Maybe. I think it is divisive, but Phantom Menace was pretty divisive.
I just
we'll
feel
see.
like Phantom Menace is kind of like its own little entity. It's even if you didn't like it, I felt like Phantom Menace was more like I really didn't like it, but there were so many good things that I don't get why I don't like Phantom Menace. But that came out of it. I don't know. I don't get that.
And we're gonna rank our films here, so we're gonna go through that. But first, how long have you been a Star Wars fan, and when did you first, if you can remember, sometimes you may not be able to remember because it may be so long ago, your first experience, Star Wars memory you remember?
Okay, so I remember my aunt and uncle are like huge movie fanatics to where when you go into their house, this is when DVDs were still around, children.
Mm-hmm.
They had
They're
DVDs.
Still around.
They're still around. They're just not quite widely as used anymore because we have streaming so much. But they have, I promise you, like, these shelves are probably 10 feet in height, and I mean probably 6 or 7 feet wide, and it's full of movies. And I remember looking through their movies, and like there were the black cases, like black movie cases. I was like, what is that? Like, I've heard of this Star Wars. This was on like 7 or 8.
I know what set you're talking about, I think.
Yeah, and my aunt was like, my aunt and uncle go, you've never seen Star Wars? And my cousin was there, and he said that he remembers when he went to the movie theater back when it first came out, and he was in such awe of the words going through the screen, like up on the screen. Like, that was a big time moment. And he said he can remember leaving that theater, I guess much like we left when you left Frozen, and you're kind of like, oh my gosh, it's a big movie. Like, that was a pretty big movie. But I think this was even more out there because nobody had really done anything like this before. So it was kind of like this huge, but his whole story, like, I was like, whoa, this sounds awesome. So I went back, and when I was little, I liked him even more when I was little, because I really liked Luke, way back then, and I like gravitated towards Luke. And as I got older, I started to switch my allegiance more towards Han, because I just liked the way that he carried himself. But that was my first like full memory, was watching those. She gave me the whole, like, the first 3. She gave me, because the other ones weren't even hard. I don't think the Phantom Menace wasn't even out yet, because it was coming out, and I think that's what was such a big deal, was that it was coming out, or it had just come out, and it was.
What year were you born?
I was 93. So Menace came out in, what was it? Was it 2000?
1999.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, it had been out. So I think it was out in. I'm not sure. Attack of the Clones was.
We see Attack of the Clones was 2002. Back then, though, it took a whole year for the DVD release.
Yeah, that's what it was.
So that was much different. Yeah, much different.
So maybe that's why. Because I remember Phantom Menace being out, but they didn't have it. They only had the 3. Which, honestly, I'm kind of glad they did. Because I was like, I think I would have watched it in the wrong order. I think I would have gone Phantom and then the other 3. And that wouldn't have made any sense. But I'm kind of glad that I waited to watch those, and then all these new ones started to come out that were coming back in to theaters. So I think that was my first memory. What was yours? You probably had a little bit more time than I did with Star Wars.
Yeah, I'm a bit older than you. 2 years, just 2 years.
Yeah.
But I don't know what my earliest memory is. I know I had seen 4, 5, and 6 before Phantom came out, but I did not see Phantom Menace in theaters. The first memories I really remember is being in like 4th or 5th grade. I had a friend, Walter, who was a huge Star Wars fan, and I'd go over his house on Xbox. He had a game called Obi-Wan. God, that was a great game, Obi-Wan. It was just episode 1 from the perspective of Obi-Wan. But they had a cool like multiplayer mode where you could play as like Mace Windu and Ki-Adi-Mundi and Qui-Gon Jinn and all these other Jedi and fight each other, which was great. So I remember, like, at that point, he had started getting me into this, and I was like, this is so cool. I need to go back and watch them again. I know I had seen them before this. I just can't remember it. But I need to go back and watch them again. Well, guess what? We only had Return of the Jedi on VHS. This is back on VHS, people. We only had Return of the Jedi on VHS. So I had to watch that. That was the only one I had. So I watched that one a lot. And then I borrowed The Phantom Menace from the library and watched it on VHS. And those were my 2 options. I got later I would get a present that was Phantom Menace on Blu-ray. I mean, not Blu-ray, Jesus, DVD. DVD, and then so it was either my DVD of Phantom Menace or Return of the Jedi on VHS. Well, then my Return of the Jedi video, actually, I think it went up. I think it got eaten by the VHS. So my grandfather did get me a Christmas gift that was a VHS trilogy of 4, 5, 6. And then I started being able to actually watch them all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then I saw, Attack of the Clones in theaters. I saw Revenge of the Sith in theaters. Those were very different times. People weren't worried about spoilers. So the novelizations came out a whole month in advance, and I was able to read Revenge of the Sith before I saw Revenge of the Sith. It was very different times. And then it was the 10-year gap of no films. And then, in 2012, they announced that Star Wars was being bought by Disney, and new films were coming. So it's been a ride. It's probably been since '99 that I've been a hardcore fan. That prequel era was amazing. There was just tons of books. I used to read this book series for kids. It was called Jedi Apprentice. It was like 18 books, and it was before Episode 1, and it was Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon storylines, written by Jude Watson, and then she wrote some about. It was called Jedi Quest. Was the next series that took place between 2 and 3. No, 1 and 2. It took place between 1 and 2, and it was about Obi-Wan and Anakin.
Mm-hmm.
And then she wrote another one between 3 and 4 that was called The Last of the Jedi. So that was a good. She was a good writer. She's still around, I think. But the Jedi Apprentice series was really good. It was like 18 books. I mean, they're kid books, so they were like for young adults, bigger font, still 100 and some pages, but probably not as many words as I used to be able to read them so quick too. I remember reading them. I'd get them at the library, or I would find them at like a bookstore and just buy the next copy. Just good times of back then there were so many books and video games coming out that you got to experience. So that's kind of how I found it, and I wonder if it wasn't for that friend that I had, if I wouldn't be as into it as I am now, even though I had seen it back then. But I think eventually I still would have got caught on to it. My mom was a big Star Wars fan, so but yeah, so that's how I found it. So
does your dad watch it much?
We had just got him into it when it was right before Force Awakens. We got him to actually sit down and watch all of them. He had saw Revenge of the Sith with me in theaters, but he fell asleep. I look over during the Obi-Wan Anakin fight and he's sleeping.
So it shows what he thought of it. Well, yeah,
he was not a very genre guy until recently. Watching Marvel and and all that stuff. He used to never do that. So yeah, he's changed.
Yeah. I was gonna say my dad. I don't even know if he I think he's definitely seen the first one because he said it was amazing just to even see that in theaters. But I don't think he was interested in the whole story. I think he was just more interested in that everybody else was gonna go see it. So
yeah.
Because that was a big thing. It was like, I mean, I can't imagine back in the 70s like that being like lightsabers. Like, what are those? Those are crazy.
So, oh yeah, my mom was a big fan. She remembers going to see it when it came out. She was 8 years old.
That's crazy.
So I got to share some of those memories, and I used to always my mom just texted me now saying they want to watch The Last Jedi. I said, okay, go ahead. It's on Netflix.
I was gonna say it hasn't made its move over to Plus yet.
No, December 26th.
That's pretty impressive though.
Yeah.
And how quickly they're gaining all the ones, and how quickly they're coming. Like Aladdin's coming on soon, but like Disney Plus, I mean, they're starting to crank them out, and it'll be only a matter of time before a new Star Wars something pops up. So
yeah,
I mean,
yeah. So I
Wednesday.
guess enough about the past, I guess. So I guess we'll look forward to not quite the future either, but our rankings of these favorite films. Now, I'm going to put this in the show notes for everybody, but I found this website for Marvel rankings and then found out they do these for Star Wars rankings. And what it is it gives you 2 movies and it says which one would you rather watch or which one is better. And you just click that, and as you go through the cycle of each permutation, it gives you what your favorite movie is. And there's 10 films, so it ranks them in the order of 1 through 10. So we'll go through, I guess, one by one. Do we have any similar ones? I think we do.
Yeah, we do.
Let's start from the bottom.
Okay.
Let's start from the bottom, and then we'll go here. Okay? So we'll start with number 10. I think this one's the same. From what I remember. Number 10, Attack of the Clones, Episode 2, is my number 10.
Yeah. That's close. Mine's Phantom Menace at 10.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, we're pretty close as far as because my next one would have been Attack of the Clones. Right.
And number nine's Phantom Menace for me.
Yeah, so we just switched. So honestly, those are 2 not so very great ones.
I'll argue that with you.
Really?
I am surprised Phantom Menace is that low on my list. I love the Phantom Menace. I do. Really? I don't know if it's the nostalgia or what that got me like really into it, but I love the Phantom Menace. Part of it, what I love about it is, to me, it feels the most like Star Wars out of the first 3. Mm-hmm. Okay? I do think Revenge of the Sith is better than it, but I do think that it feels the most like Star Wars. You have almost like the trench run at the end, right? Yeah. You have them taking on the things with the Naboo starfighters.
Right.
The weakest part is Jar Jar, and that's really my only complaint of the movie. Mm-hmm. I love Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan. I love Liam Neeson as Qui-Gon Jinn. And I love Qui-Gon. I wish we got more Qui-Gon than we did. Darth Maul is amazing. That's another reason why I'll rank this above Attack of the Clones. Dooku is not as interesting as Darth Maul. Dooku's old. He's just not interesting. And I don't know. I just really like Phantom Menace. I love seeing where R2 came from, as much as people probably complain about that. I love seeing where 3PO came from, because these are the 2 constants throughout the whole 9 films. So I am surprised it's that low when I got this thing. But the thing is, there's 10 movies. I love all 10 of them. Attack is just my least favorite. But so one of them's got to go number 9, and I guess it's Phantom Menace from this ranking. But I do have a soft spot for it, and every time I watch it, I like it more. It's totally a weird situation. There was a time where I did not like it as much, but I used to rank Attack of the Clones above it at one point, but I've changed recently. I think Attack of the Clones is too long. I think it hinges on some terrible dialogue with the love story. I've seen Hayden Christensen in other things. He can act. I've seen Natalie Portman in other things. She can act. It's got to be the script. Is what it is. And I'm just surprised. But number 8. What's your number 8? I think I know what it is.
The Last Jedi.
This is where we'll be very different.
Yeah, I'm shocked that one's actually higher than if there could be a tied for 10th, I think The Last Jedi would be with it. Because
but that's what's cool about the app, though, thing.
Yeah.
You know, that you kind of get the truth of what's one you would do or die on.
Yeah. I guess there's parts of The Last Jedi that I like. I think I like Ben's story. Like I like being able to look at Kylo and going, well, I like his story. I just don't know if I like how Luke's portrayed in it. But I do like Kylo. I really do. I think that he's a good villain. He's kind of a whiny baby, but I think that's kind of...
he's not as whiny as Anakin.
Yeah, yeah. Nobody
can only go up.
Nobody loves me.
I hate sand, right? I mean,
what a baby.
I'll talk about Last Jedi here then, I guess, too. That's number 4 on my list, which I remember when I walked out of the theater, I said it's number 1. It's fallen a bit.
Yeah.
Part of it is the controversy. I cannot bring myself to watch it with the controversy right now, but I'm actually really excited to watch it again this week and build up. It has 2 of my favorite moments of all time in Star Wars. One of them is that throne room fight with Kylo and Rey being on the same team and taking down I love that scene.
Yeah, it's the best part of the movie.
Oh, it's so good. I gush over. I'm smiling right now. I gush over it every time. I love that scene. And the Yoda. I love seeing Yoda another time here. That's another top scene for me. Yeah. The parts that don't work with me as much, I don't mind Canto Bight, but I think Finn got the short end of the stick in this movie. He really got pushed to the side after being, for me, a scene stealer in The Force Awakens. He was so good in The Force Awakens.
He really was.
To kind of get pushed aside there is kind of unfortunate.
God, that gambling city was awful. It was like, what is happening? Why? And I don't. I'm sorry, but I don't like the girl. I don't like the Asian girl. Yeah, I don't like her. I don't like what her character is. I get it, but it's kind of like when they shoved that scene in an Endgame where they just kind of shoved the female in because I get their purpose, and I get their purpose. I get why, but that's why you have Rey. Like, Rey is the embodiment of a strong female character. That's the protagonist. That's the hero. Like, Rey is that she comes from nowhere, supposedly.
Well, I get what they're going for, and what they're going for is not so much the strong female. What they're trying to do is that in the end of Force Awakens, Finn, yes, he does join the Resistance, right? But it's only because he wants to save Rey. That's all he cares about, saving Rey. And that carries over into Last Jedi. It's the only thing he cares about is saving Rey. He doesn't care about the rest of the Resistance. She's the one that kind of opens his eyes to the fact that there's injustice in the galaxy. You know, he's really excited to see Canto Bight because he's never seen it before, but she kind of shows him the flaws of Canto Bight. But and I'm fine with that. But for some reason, it didn't resonate with most people, and this is the one scene that a lot of people don't like is Canto Bight, and it's okay for me, but it is probably now, like, I saw the movie 5 times in theaters.
You're crazy.
The movie I've seen the most in theaters, and I did love it each time, by the way. But
I know you did.
I just don't. It probably didn't work as well as they wanted it to. Because I do think that's probably the part I am least looking forward to is Canto Bight.
Yeah.
I don't mind Rose. I think Canto Bight is just DJ ultimately ends up being not a big deal. He turns them over, and it's not really a big deal with that.
Which I thought that was a weird casting. I don't like him either.
Oh, Benicio del Toro?
Yeah, I don't know why. He kind of. I saw an interview. Because what was he in? He was in.
He's in Guardians.
That's what it was. He was in Guardians, and I saw an interview, like a press junket that they were doing for Guardians, and he just seemed real arrogant, like he's better than everybody. I don't know. He just rubbed me the wrong way, and then his character ends up being just like him. I'm like, well, kind of like this Weasley. I don't know. I never really liked him very much.
I think the worst thing about DJ is his accent, the stutter.
I guess so, yeah.
That's my problem with it, I guess. But other than that, I really like the force projection Luke does at the end.
Yeah, that's a cool one. Yeah.
I think that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
I think Luke had to die. As much as I would like to see him going forward, he would just steal the story. If he's alive in Episode 9, I think the focus is on him and not on Rey, and I think that's part of the problem.
Maybe that's why they think it's going to be so divisive. This one's going to be too. The people won't like it because Luke will come back.
Yeah, I'd be down for it, but that'd be. He's not been shy that he's in the movie, and he keeps saying he's a ghost in it. So I'm assuming he's not lying, but it would be weird if he somehow came back in the flesh. But yeah, so I like that they killed Snoke.
Yes.
I liked having Kylo become the main villain.
Mm-hmm.
Villain. We'll see how that changes now that we know Palpatine's back.
The thing about it is, though, I feel like I'm not convinced. Like, I know the voice is there. I'm starting to think now that I've seen the new clip with Kylo that he's in that Sith temple. I'm thinking that Palpatine is not alive. I think he's just as a kind of like I don't know how to explain it. I mean, I'm thinking we're going to get some kind of new part of the Force that is going to build on to stuff that we get later. Like, how cool would it be to get, like, the Sith side, like the evil side of the Force, like shows going forward or movies going forward that show kind of like that build up of, and they always rumor like they're going to do, Maul's character or somebody else's like that, which I hope they don't, because I think as he exists, I don't really want to know more. But like there's other characters, obviously, like I think Kylo's would be interesting, but I think you get a lot of his story from the get-go because Luke, I mean, what Luke did. But I don't know. Like, I think that Palpatine's... I'm not sold that he's alive.
I am not at liberty to say. This is one of the things I think I got spoiled. I'm not at liberty to say.
Yeah. I was gonna say, have you gotten? Well, I guess let's do a preview after this. So I'll hold off on that question.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So my number 8 was not The Last Jedi. That's my number 4. My number 8 is Solo, which, again, I am shocked it's this low. I enjoyed the hell out of that movie.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
My wife did not, but I did. I literally, when I saw Darth Maul in that movie, I turned to my wife, and I was, like, mouthing to her, like, what the hell? Like, I'm, like, pointing. I'm like, it's Darth Maul. And she's like, what are you saying? And I'm like, ah. And I was, like, gushing, and I was smiling. Yeah. I was like, I can't believe it. I knew he was in the movie.
But of course you did.
I got that spoiled.
What boards are you on?
I got that spoiled. But guess what? I thought it was going to be... Somebody said it was a hologram. I thought it was going to be like a one-it poster or something small. I did not know it was going to be him actually talking and lighting his lightsaber. And I was like... I was blown away. Another reason why I'm blown away is because that actually... It actually like references the cartoons, which none of these things had done previously. For people that don't know, Darth Maul is alive after he falls down the shaft in Episode 1. He comes back with legs, robotic legs, and he dies in the cartoon Rebels. Spoiler alert, I guess. Oops. But he faces Obi-Wan again, which was a great episode of Rebels, by the way. But I never thought I would actually see them reference it in the actual films. I thought, but now, and this is why I like watching them chronologically. It is a shock to the system if you watch it chronologically. You see him fall down the shaft.
Yeah. Then
you watch Solo after Episode 3, and you're like, "What? He's alive!" It's amazing. And then seeing Rogue One afterwards, and then going to 4 and 5. I love watching it chronologically. I will say, if you already know the films, not a first-time viewer, chronologically is really cool to experience. But I think first-time viewers should always watch it in the release order.
Yeah, and that's what I'm doing, the rewatch and release order. I just like release order. I don't know why. I think because
I think release order gets harder now that there's more after 6.
Yeah.
I think it was fine
agree.
when you had 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, but now
And then
if
you
you have
have the
4,
pre-
5, 6,
yeah.
1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9,
Yeah.
it's kind of strange.
10, 11, 12.
Right. So I was surprised it was that low. I really did like Alden as Harrison Ford as Han. He's no Harrison Ford, but he plays a young Han so well.
Yeah.
He had so many lines and mannerisms
Well,
that I was like, that's
I think
Han.
the mannerisms.
That's Han.
Yeah, I think the mannerisms. He did such a good job of studying what Harrison did with Han. Like just the way he carries himself and the way his words come out. Like I was watching A New Hope yesterday, and just the way Han, like when he's sitting at the table with his blaster, just kind of like that way of just like nobody's gonna mess with me.
Right.
Like, I dare you to mess with me. I don't know. I just kind of like that, and the kid does a good job. Like that's what the thing about it, Obi-Wan, the fact that they keep talking about the new one, that's the new show and stuff. I just like I would be so worried because I don't know how you portray it without Ewan McGregor being the focal point. Like now that I've seen him young, like I'm like, where does that fit? Like he doesn't change that much. He looks like Ewan McGregor the whole time. Like how does he?
Yeah.
How do you kind of fit? And what timeline are you trying to fit that in? Are you after when he becomes a hermit and like? I don't know.
It's supposed to be between 3 and 4.
Yeah.
There's 19 years there though, so
I guess so, yeah.
We'll figure out where exactly it lays. Your number 8 was Last Jedi. Okay, number 7
Mine
for
was
you.
Solo too. Yeah.
Was Solo? Okay.
Yeah.
My number 7 was Revenge of the Sith. I do like it. I think I do like Revenge of the Sith. I mean, as people can tell, if I like my 9 and 8, I like my number 7. But I don't really have much to say about it. I just watched it recently. It's good. It has a little bit of a tonal problem at times. The beginning half feels like a totally different movie.
Yes.
When it's, before he changes. And then when he goes to the dark side, it's like a total... I still thought, even in the theaters, I was like, this is too easy of him switching to the dark side.
Yeah, it's quick. It's almost like...
It's really quick.
Yeah, it's like, no, I'm good. And then all of a sudden he has the meeting and Palpatine's on, and it's like, you know what? I want to be bad now. I'm going to go kill children. I'm like, whoa.
Right.
Whoa. Easy. That's Matt's favorite part. I talked to Matt the other day.
His favorite part is the killing the babies?
Yeah.
The kids?
Well, like,
oh my God.
Not his favorite part, but he's like, how does it escalate so quickly? Because he and Rachel had never seen it. Like, he and Rachel were watching it together. Or, like,
they were watching together?
Yeah, for the first time. So they're, like, watching these, and they watched... So they obviously watched in release order. So they watched, 4, 5, 6, and then they went 1, 2, 3, and then they watched Force and Last Jedi, and now he's finished Mandalorian. Yeah. So he's finished. Yesterday he just caught up to us in Mando, and like you can just tell he wants to talk about it so badly because he and Rachel talk about it, but he wants outside people because he's like, it's found this new like fad that's been around forever, but
a 40-year-old fad.
Yeah, like, dude, we've been talking about this. Like, this is all you and Rich and I used to talk about sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, dude, jump in and he's like, I won't watch Star Wars. I think it's dumb. I was like, oh, well, really? And then he would watch it. And the funny thing is we watch How I Met Your Mother, right? And
so many references.
Barney she jokes around.
Yeah.
And he's like, if she doesn't like Star Wars, then you can't marry her, and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, I hated it. Like,
yeah, that's right.
Remember? Because he watches it, but I don't know, Matt. Like I gave Matt a hard time, but yeah, like Revenge of the Sith, it goes to a dark place real quick, and it's
and I think this is where the Clone Wars cartoon kind of helps. They really develop his descent a little bit better in there. You see a little bit more flashes of stuff like that, and really develop them where you do feel more like sorry for him going over. Originally, you're just kind of like, well, you're just a dumbass, but don't listen to what Palpatine's saying. I don't know. I cringe when he kills the kids, when he's like, Master Skywalker, what are we to do? And then it's like, I'm like, oh no. Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do.
That's what you're going to do. Die, kids, die.
And the kid like backs up and flinches, and I feel so bad. I feel so bad.
So evil. But can I will admit that's probably the best thing they ever did because it made you hate him. Because you really don't you dislike Darth Vader, but you kind of feel for him a little bit. Like there's something wrong with him. But like you don't actually hate him. I never like felt to where like, oh, I hate him. Even when they blew up, where when Leia was like, don't blow up that shit, and they blew it up anyway.
I just think it's funny when people say Kylo Ren cannot be redeemed because he killed Han Solo. I'm like, Anakin killed kids.
Yes, yeah. And
he killed all those Tusken Raiders, and then he kills all the kids. I mean,
people have a Darth spot. They have a soft spot for Darth Vader when he's sitting there and they remove the mask and he's talking to Luke, and you're like, and now finally people feel sorry for him. Like, dude, he just murdered 800 kids.
The reason why people accept Darth Vader's redemption is because that happened before they see him kill all the kids, because those were made afterwards.
Yeah, now you feel like crappy human, don't you?
Yeah.
So
yeah. My number 6 was Rogue One.
Yeah, that same as mine.
Cool.
Because that one and the other Rogue One and Solo, you and I were the same.
Yeah, I really like Rogue One.
Yeah.
I love seeing Darth Vader just go ham at the end there. That's really cool.
And you really want to just see him kill kids again, honestly. That's why you watch it.
Yeah. But that's really cool, and I like the way it feeds right into A New Hope. Watching them back to back is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I like
these top 5 the same.
No, because Last Jedi's number 4. That's nowhere near yours.
No. Yeah, no.
Ours is around. It's around the same thing. Number 5 for me is Return of the Jedi.
Okay, you're close. You've replaced one. Like my Revenge of the Sith is where your Last Jedi is, and your Last Jedi is where my Revenge of the Sith is, pretty much. So that's where it fell out of the top 5. Because mine's Revenge of the Sith. I love Revenge of the Sith only because it's the most quotable out of the ones that I saw when I was a kid. Because I will always remember every single quote. I've got the high ground. And he's like, I hate you, and all that stuff. I mean,
you were my brother, Anakin.
Yeah, you were my brother.
You were supposed to destroy the Sith, not join them.
Yeah. You underestimate my power. I'm like, why did he say it like that?
Lightness, not darkness.
Oh God.
Yeah.
I love Ewan McGregor so much. That's why
he really elevated the prequels. He was so
without
good.
him, it would have been kind of.
It would have been worse. It would have been really worse. Number 5 for me was Return of the Jedi. I think as a kid, Return of the Jedi used to be ranked a little higher for me. Mm-hmm. I love the final battle in Return of the Jedi. I really do.
Yep.
It's so good. But other than that, I don't really have too much to say about it. I also loved. I do like the beginning with the whole Jabba the Hutt palace and all that stuff. But I really love. It really kicks off in a different notch when you have him just going, crazy on Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Fighting, and that's a really good fight. And I like the green saber. Blue's my favorite color, but I love seeing a new saber color, and it looks so good. It looks so good. The only reason that was changed, by the way, is because they couldn't see the blue that well on the Tatooine sand at the beginning. Mm-hmm. So we kind of lucked out there.
Yeah.
Did I have any? I had something else to say about Rogue One, I think, before that. I don't remember what it is. Okay. Anyway, number 4 for me, The Last Jedi. We already talked that one. Mm-hmm. What was number 4 for you?
Return of the Jedi.
Okay, so
because I love the end scene so much.
Yeah, it's so good.
It's the iconic scene. Like if you don't remember that one, then you don't remember any of them. So.
And I think some of these might change for me again. I have number 3 as A New Hope.
Yeah, mine are constantly like bouncing back.
Mine are always changing.
I love New Hope. I love New Hope because that's the first one I ever watched. Like that was the first one I ever watched, and I'll always like. You really felt bad for Luke because Luke didn't have, his parent. Obviously, his dad is, who, and not Voldemort, but Vader. But then his aunt and uncle die. And then I love old Ben. Like I feel so bad for Obi-Wan. Like
Obi-Wan is so good. Yeah,
old Obi-Wan is so fantastic. I love the part. Like I feel like they were way ahead with their script writing and their action pack. Like the one that I love. Like I always like smile when it comes on is when he goes, "Yeah, I'm supposed to be looking for like an Obi-Wan Kenobi," and then Ben's like, oh, I haven't heard that name in quite some time.
Right.
And he's like, you know the guy? And he's like, yeah, he's me.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
dude,
yeah.
I'm him. Come on.
Yeah, like
So-
like there's gonna be Ben Kenobi and then
Yeah,
Obi-Wan.
right. Yeah, like come on, Luke, you idiot.
If you name one Ben, you're gonna name the other one something easier than Obi-Wan.
Yeah, and still, as the movies have gone on, though, I will not lie, I kind of like Luke. Luke was one of my favorites to start with, but Luke's like way down the list now of my favorite Star Wars characters.
I still love Luke. I'm more of a Luke guy than a Han guy.
Yeah, maybe we'll do that. Because I have a couple questions I want to ask you
after. We'll have to talk about that. A New Hope for me is number 3, but I don't know if it'll stay that high. I just watched it again, and while I do love A New Hope, and people talk about how fast it's paced for 1977, it is slow paced in 2019.
Yes.
Starting off with the droids and then having them just walk around the desert for a while. It takes a while to get to Luke.
It does.
And that's my one complaint about it. I love R2 and 3PO, I really do, but I would say that nowadays you can't have it be that slow of a start. But that's part of its time. I love once you get to once Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru are toasted. It's it is a good time. It is a good time. We get to Mos Eisley, we get to the Cantina, we get to the Death Star and meeting Han.
Han and Chewie.
Once you meet Han, the movie kicks into another gear.
Yes.
Another gear.
I always forget how much time is actually spent with them on Vader's ship. Like I always forget like the first I always forget how long that they're on that thing. And it's still one of my favorite. Like that's where I like grew to love C-3PO too. Because of his interactions, like very like nonchalant, and the fact that he can tell what R2 says. But
and I think of R2 like a dog. Especially now that I have dogs, I'm like, oh, he's a little doggy.
You know what it reminds me of, honestly, is Kristoff and Sven. That's what it reminds me of when they interact with each other.
Especially with, like when he's like, I've never seen such devotion in a droid before. Going to meet an old master and stuff, and Luke says that. It's great. My number 2 was my number 1 before. What was your number 3?
My 3 was Empire Strikes Back.
Okay. That's my number 2, but that used to be my number 1. Love Empire Strikes Back. I just watched it I started watching it Saturday. Had to finish it on Sunday. Fell asleep just because we started at like 11 o'clock.
That's tough.
I'm not gonna be able to stay awake. I just love Empire Strikes Back so much. That last battle, the twist, everything there is just golden for me. I love meeting Lando. And it really is a new twist after you watch Solo now. You know of their history. It's kind of cool, seeing stuff like that. But yeah, that's my number 2. What was your number dose?
Number 2 was A New Hope.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So our number 1s are the same.
Yes.
And people are probably going to rip us to shreds, but my number 1 is The Force Awakens.
Yeah, me too. I agree.
It is, for me, the most rewatchable. It flies. It's A New Hope on steroids. When we talked about the pacing, this movie is paced excellently for me. Moves quick. I love Kylo Ren. I love, Rey and Finn. I love all the new characters. But seeing Han with Chewie again and on the Falcon, it really is great.
I just got goosebumps.
It is so great. That trailer of the we're home.
Chewie, we're home.
It's amazing, and it gave me. I always tell the story. I remember sitting in the theater 2015, and a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away comes on the screen, and when that happened. Like right before that happened, I kind of closed my eyes, when the Lucasfilm logo came up, and I said, "You're about to see new Star Wars."
Right.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
And then I get hit with the long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, and I'm just like waiting for the trumpet, waiting for the Star Wars logo, and it felt like an eternity.
Yes.
It's the same amount of time as every other Star Wars movie, but seeing it live again, I was like, I was shaking, and I was like, I cannot believe that it is about to pop up on the screen
Mm-hmm.
here in front of everybody, and the crowd went nuts, and it was crazy. And then I'm reading the scroll, and I'm like, on the crawl, and I'm like, I'm actually reading new Star Wars. This is weird. It's like Luke Skywalker has vanished, and I'm like, what is going on? And you're reading it, and it was so cool.
Right.
Really
it's kind
cool.
of like hitting a reset button. Like, Luke's gone. Like, Luke, who had been this hero for so long, has gone hermit, just like Obi-Wan. And here's this new character coming in, and she's, we have no idea what her history is. Whereas we get a ton of Luke's. This time we get Rey, and we still don't know who the hell Rey is. Like, I get it, like the Tinker thing. I'm like, I don't buy it. Like, I'm not buying that. And they're always like, oh yeah, you guys should buy it. Like, the director's like, yeah, no, you should buy it. Don't read any more into it. She literally came from nothing. I'm like, I'm not convinced. Something's happened, but I don't know.
We'll see, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. But I agree with you. I agree. The whole
it's so good.
Kylo Ren coming into his music, that dun, 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 like, that's probably
the ship landing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And he comes out and he
goes to Lord Santeca.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, the map to Skywalker.
Yeah. And he's such a badass. Good. Like, dude, like, I don't know. I love Kylo. I think he's my favorite. But
he's so good too because he's conflicted. Darth Vader was not conflicted. Darth Vader killed Anakin. Kylo is that scene with him killing Han. Han's like, hey, I'll help you.
Yes.
What do you need? And he's like, I think in actuality he is conflicted at that moment, and then it's cool because as soon as the light disappears, is when he stabs Han. Like the light is no longer shining on him. He's encompassed in dark, and he makes that decision. Yeah. It's been a very interesting. I was totally against the idea originally of Kylo Ren being related to them, but they pulled it off so well in that movie.
Yeah. Do you think, I'm still fascinated by the theory that you don't actually see the hand of Kylo hit the button.
He killed him. I think
Solo killed. I always was fascinated by that theory because I'm like, I mean, that's not wrong. Like, you never see, because Kylo almost looks like, I don't know if he's kind of like his just emotions are gone, or if it's more of like, dude, like, you just hit the button on yourself, which I think would be interesting, but you'll never find out because Han doesn't have that ability. So, he's never going to exist as a Force ghost, which I think we're going to get a lot more understanding of what a Force ghost really is, as far as how they relate to the characters. Because I feel like there's so much that needs to be explained to Rey and Kylo that there's no way that they're going to be able to, they're going to have to hear former, and they do, obviously. I mean, whether he's back or not, but Palpatine, hearing that voice again just gave you I hate him. But there's going to also be probably Luke and Rey's ear maybe. So who knows? I'm just fascinated by it. And speaking of, I wanted to ask you in Clone Wars, when you brought up Clone Wars, have you heard the Osaka Tano's?
Yeah, Ahsoka. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you hear her theory, or that theory that she's in the movie?
Yeah, for people that don't know, JJ was over in Japan promoting the movie. He did an interview with somebody, and the interviewer asked JJ his favorite character. He said Han. JJ reciprocates and says, "Who's your favorite character?" She says Ahsoka Tano. And he was like, "Interesting. You might want to pay close attention in Rise of Skywalker." What that could mean, we don't really know. Ahsoka would be should be kind of old.
Yeah.
I mean, she'd be older than Luke and Han and Leia, but who knows? Her species could age differently. We don't really know. But I'm interested what that can mean, because I love these tie-ins with the cartoons. Ahsoka is a great character. People started off hating her, then they started liking her. She has one of those weird Star Wars moments where everybody rejected her and then continued watching the show and fell into liking her. She's played by Ashley Eckstein, who has done. She created the brand Her Universe, clothing line for women.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of nerd stuff. They sell it in Hot Topic, I think, actually. But I have my Ahsoka Hot Topic exclusive Funko Pop.
Yeah.
Right next to me as well, and she appeared in Rebels as well. She was not just in Clone Wars, and they left it where there's probably going to be a continuation of her story in the in probably the next cartoon they do as well. So
right.
I'm excited for that. I don't know. I don't think she'd have a big part. It'd be probably a very small cameo.
Yeah. But it
makes me wonder how they could fit her in.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So
I was like,
excited,
I wonder what your thought was, and I know because I listened to like Lou Mangello, who's the WDW, and he's like fascinated with her. So I think that's funny that she's getting. He says she's getting a cameo, but that's what they said. They go, JJ likes to do that to people, like just to get them to think, like, hey, look, pay attention to this, and this. So it's always interesting, and I'm just glad it's back in his hands because I feel like I feel in the Force that this one's going to be pretty good.
Yeah, I hope.
I do feel that
this could make the trilogy. Really, I mean, as people can tell, the two of the saga or the sequel trilogy are in my top 4 anyway. But
yeah,
but yeah. I really do think that just fan wise, this is going to make or break how people look back on it. Kind of like how Revenge of the Sith made people look a little bit better at the prequels. I think this could do it. Yeah, so I guess maybe we can get into kind of a preview of Rise of Skywalker and I guess what we kind of want to see and stuff like that in there. Yeah, what don't you want to see?
I don't want to see Chewbacca die, damn it. If they kill Chewbacca, I'm leaving.
Me too. That's what I hated about the old books. They killed Chewbacca off.
Yeah.
They threw a moon on the guy.
Yeah, that's what they said. They go, like, Chewbacca always dies. He's like, who is it, Cartman from South Park?
Yeah, I was like, please
dies.
don't.
Or not Cartman,
don't
Kenny.
kill Chewbacca. Don't kill Chewbacca. I mean, if they do it well, I guess. I didn't want them to kill Han, but I kind of saw that coming. But
my question for you, does anybody die? No, don't tell me if you know. But does anybody die?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I have no idea.
Okay.
The things I were spoiled on are related to the bad side.
Okay.
I don't know anything about the good side in this. Yeah. I don't know anything.
Okay. I get that. Like I
saw pictures too. I saw pictures. I don't know. I've read stuff too, but I don't know how true it is. Like, I play a little game called Risky Clicks. Okay, so I hang out on a subreddit called Star Wars Leaks. Okay, the reason I do is because the real Star Wars subreddit is trash. It's mostly fan art and stuff like that. So whenever when I want to just read news, like, hey, people post on the Star Wars Leaks, like, hey, this JJ just said this thing in an interview. And I'm like, okay, cool. It's very risky when I click the comments, though. So I usually, as soon as I start reading something, I start scrolling like, I got to get away from that.
Yeah, because it's out elsewhere, right? Like,
no, what it is I don't know. People somehow got a hold of the script or something. I don't know.
Well, I know a lot of the people that do Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah, I know the people that do Rotten Tomatoes and some of the critics have gotten a hold of it. And I know some of the press has gotten a hold of it.
Well, the critics are watching it tomorrow. Tonight and tomorrow are when the critics are seeing it. So
that's crazy.
The official critics.
I don't know if I could do that. I would want to talk to everybody.
Me too. Yeah.
I would be like, no, but the other thing is too, like when I start to read spoilers, I have to go in and like read a bunch of them just so I can confuse myself. Like I've got to almost like, if I'm going to get hit with a spoiler, throw them all at me because like, not spoilers, I guess, but like things we think are going to happen. Like,
because
throw all your theories at me because then I don't know.
Well, that's the thing too. Like I actually don't have any idea on how many of these things are true because I go in thinking that all of these are fake. Right? I go in thinking all these are fake because I was just texting you this earlier, but I got spoiled in The Last Jedi. I was playing HQ Trivia, right? And I see 2 comments on HQ Trivia. It says, Rey kills Luke, Kylo kills Snoke. I was like, okay, so for both of these things to be true, are they switching sides?
Right.
That was a popular theory. I was like, I
Yeah.
don't know how I like that. I don't know if I could like Rey killing Luke, right? So I was like, I don't know. And so I went in thinking one of them is true, maybe.
Yeah.
Then every time Luke had his damn back turned, I thought Rey was about to kill him.
Could you imagine?
I was like,
just right off the pork's head.
Especially like when they fight on that in the rain.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh man, please don't kill him. What is she gonna do? Is she gonna kill him? I was like, she can't kill him. This is fake. But then once that didn't happen, I was like, okay, so Kylo doesn't kill Snoke then, and then bam, he does.
Yeah.
So it worked out well for me. It worked out well. I didn't know what was true, what wasn't. The bad thing is, the two things I've seen that I know are true are because they were screenshots.
From Rise?
No, yeah, somebody leaked. Somehow somebody got pictures and they leaked it, and they're real screen caps from scenes of the movie. So it was
but isn't there like this? Like I know there's the one out there. I think that's like Rey holding her double, but that's in the trailer.
No, it's not that. It's not that. Okay. So it's like this is how I clicked it. Okay. You know how sometimes they release screenshots of the movie to get people excited, right?
Right.
Well, I'm on this Star Wars leaks thing, and they say, new screenshot of blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Click. And it was a pirated screenshot. It wasn't an official release screenshot. Oh, boy. And I was like, oh, but it really made me excited. It really did. I still wish I didn't know it, but it has made me really excited for this movie. And I'll tell you what it is when we record our review.
Well, I'm not excited to hear it. I'm excited to see what it is, and I'm like, was it this?
Oh yeah, I want to take your guesses too. I want to take your guesses of what it was.
Okay, so here are my theories. Here are some weird theories that I have. I think what happens is Palpatine is back, and I think that what you have seen is Kylo with not a red lightsaber. That's my
interesting.
Theory. That's one theory that I have. The other theory that I have is that somebody's not dead, or Leia's alive, and she has the task of possibly taking down both Kylo and Rey. But I don't know.
Oh my God, that'd be dope. But I don't
Could you imagine?
So you can tell that's not it. You can tell it's not. That would be awesome. I'll tell you when it happens. I'll tell you what it really was right now. It was Chewbacca dead at the hands of Rey. I'm just kidding.
You're an ass.
Just scare you there for a bit.
No, but like I think. Do you think anybody dies since you don't have that knowledge?
We were kind of talking about this before with Matt. I can't see them killing off an original trilogy person after.
No, I don't see that either.
I can't see it. And the reason I can't see this is because people complained about Luke and Han dying. Carrie Fisher actually passed away. That may have been the plan originally to kill off Leia. I think that'd be almost a disservice to her now. I want to give her a happy ending.
Yeah.
I mean, her son turned to the dark side. Her dad turned to the dark side. Her brother's dead. Her husband's dead. Give her something good.
She marries Lando.
If there was to be a death, I think it is a non-human death. I think it's a droid death. I think it's 3PO.
Don't even know.
I think it's 3PO with the red eyes in the trailer and him saying, "I'm taking one last look." I don't think they'll do it. Because that's telegraphing it. That's telegraphing it. Yeah. But I can see it being one of the droids. R2's barely in the movie, it looks like. Where is R2? That's my complaint. Where is R2 in this sequel trilogy? This is what I'm passionate about. R2 is amazing. Yes, I love BB-8, I do. But where is R2?
But R2's hilarious. Like, R2 is...
He's sarcastic. He's sassy.
Fact that... Like, that's Ashley's favorite part. So, like, because Matt just texted me, like, oh, we have an extra ticket, so Ashley might go. And Ashley's like, I haven't seen the movies. I'm like, just go. Who cares? Like, you're not gonna watch it anyway.
JJ said you can see this one without seeing the other ones. He says it's going to work on its own beginning, middle, and end. So.
Yeah, well, that's what I told her. I was like, you should go. JJ said to go.
Yeah.
I called JJ. Me. He literally told me you should go.
He's like, I'm on the red carpet right now, but tell Ashley to go.
Right. Which I'm shocked that. Are you hiding your? Are you hiding our invitation to the red carpet premiere? Are you picking me up soon?
I'm right there. I'm on the carpet right now.
Logan, I have no idea where your ticket was, but I actually got to go. Yeah.
We didn't launch this in time. We didn't launch this podcast in time to get it one. No, I think I could see something like the droids. But I really want R2 to be more in this. I was excited after he woke up in Force Awakens. I was like, please be in The Last Jedi. And he was in some of the promotional material at the Porgs, but he really just sat on the Falcon. And I do like his conversation with Luke where he plays the Leia message. That was very nice. But I still wanted him to do more. So, I mean, I don't want him to be replaced. I mean, I know BB-8 is the same sort of droid. He's just a astromech, but he's a BB unit instead of a R2 unit. But I don't know. I really like R2, and I think you can't have 3PO without R2.
Right.
So 3PO is playing a huge role, it looks like, but no R2 to be seen. Kind of, unless I hope maybe he's going to be staying with Leia. You know, he was Leia's droid at one point, so it'd be nice to have him, you know, maybe watch over her or something. Yeah. But so I guess we talked about what you don't want. You don't want Chewie dying. You don't want the droids dying. What do you want? What do you want from Kylo? What do you want from Rey?
I think what I need from Rey is her not to be just a product of tinkers. Like that's like that. I can't be satisfied with
scavengers.
Yeah, like I'm not convinced like that you're just telling me that they're these average Joes that create this Jedi. Like that, no way.
I don't know. She's the one that said it though, right? I mean, that's where it was. People try to say Kylo was lying, but she's the one that actually said who they were. So I feel like she would know, but
maybe she doesn't. Maybe that's the whole thing.
That's true.
I mean, maybe Leia knows something more, and I think that's what comes in. I think obviously what I want to see too is like Leia and Rey's relationship. Like if it is Leia's goodbye, which I don't feel like it is. Like I don't really know what's going on when they're hugging and stuff, but I'm like, I don't feel like Leia's dying.
It's Rey. I think it's going to start off with Leia training Rey, because she's there watching her do her training. Mm-hmm. And I think then she's going off on this mission, and she probably hugs Leia as like a, well, in case I don't come back type of thing. And I think Leia survives. I think then you can have her live on in the books. Don't kill her off ever, and just leave her to live, you know, a happy life that she finally won. You know, she's been a general. She's been a princess.
Who's the new girl? Who's the new
Jana?
Yeah, is she?
Jana.
She's definitely gonna be with Poe, right? Like, I'm assuming.
Oh, Jana or Zori Bliss? So Zori's the masked one. Jana is the one with the bow and arrow.
The one with the bow and arrow.
Yeah, she's hanging out with Finn, it looks like. Anyway, with them being on the horses.
Yeah.
A lot. People speculate Lando's daughter, because really anytime it's somebody of a different... Anytime it's somebody with the same accent or the same race, people just start speculating they're related. Yeah. I remember Rogue One, people thought Jyn was Rey's mom because she's British. I was like, it doesn't work that way.
Right.
She has to be, she has to learn how to speak. She's not just whatever. But I don't know. I think we don't know much about. To be honest, we don't know much about the story at all, right? We know.
I like it. I like going in feeling like I have no idea what's about to happen. Like the last one, I felt like I did feel like going into the last one, like Luke's definitely going to die somehow. Mm-hmm. I felt like Luke was going to die. I did feel like I did have that feeling that Kylo and Rey were going to team up. I didn't know whether it was going to be like long term or like, and they were going to go do Snoke now in this episode, or in this movie. But then when it happened, I was like, oh my gosh, this is really happening. What I wanted to happen happened, and then it fizzles.
I was smiling like crazy. I was like, there's no way he's turning good.
Oh, people were like cheering and going nuts in our theater.
That got the biggest, I think. And that also, when Luke dusted off his shoulder, that was another big applause.
Yeah.
I remember looking at that Luke dusting off his shoulder. I was like, how did he just survive that?
No. Yeah, he doesn't. How in the world?
Yeah, but so I guess I don't know what I want. Matt was asking. Well, Matt didn't really ask. Matt was saying what he wanted, right? And I about Kylo, I think, and I said I don't really know what I want.
I don't know if I want a total closure on Kylo, because I don't know. I feel like he would be a good independent thing, but I don't know. I do feel like for the first time the bad guy doesn't die. I don't feel like Kylo dies.
That'd be nice.
I feel like resolve comes in some way. Mm-hmm. I don't know what that'll be, because I feel like you said, he's so conflicted, and this is like the first time, because in a lot of movies that he's almost like he would wash away to the other side if you could just give him the chance. Like,
so let's say you're right? Let's say you're right, and it's only a 2.5 hour movie, not even.
Yeah.
How do we fit all this in 2.5 hours?
Right.
How do we get Dark Rey, which we've seen in the trailer? Is that a vision? Is it real? We don't know. But how does she fit in with the Rey we know, right? But we also see Kylo and Rey fighting in a few different locations in the trailers. How does he then turn good to then... I wonder what the catalyst is, right? Because she's tried getting him to turn a few times, right? She just tried again at in The Last Jedi a few times, and she thought she had him, right, when they're fighting Snoke. But it makes me wonder how we ramp this up. How does he, if he was to get redeemed, how does that happen? I don't know if I have the answer to that. I have not been the one assigned to write this movie, but I just wonder how we fit all this stuff in there. It looks like so many locations, so many characters that we have to wrap up, and Palpatine has to somehow either come back or, to be relevant for the trailers. Mm-hmm. It just makes me wonder how all this stuff plays out in the 2 hour, 20-minute movie.
Yeah, and I think more of the storyline is going to fall within Kylo. But, I think he's the one that has the vision that Rey's on the dark side.
I think so, too. I think this might be some sort of Palpatine manipulation.
Yes.
This is what, she should have been the one that turned dark or whatever, and you took her spot.
Yeah, this is what she wants. This is where the future of the Force lies. You need to be in the right side. Not the dark, not the light, because the light is getting ready to be put out.
Right,
which could be interesting too. Could you imagine that Rey dies? That'd be nuts.
I can't see it.
That would be nuts. Come on, be brave, Disney. Be brave. Be brave.
Oh man.
Can we just talk about though? When we were doing the rankings, I wanted to do this.
Yeah.
I want to put an asterisk next to my number 1. Because I think, even though it's not a movie, I think The Mandalorian has taken my heart for Star Wars now.
It's so good.
I feel like
so good.
It is number 1. I anticipate it. I'm glad that it's on weekly, and then it's gonna have this break. But every episode has been the one in the swamp was kind of weird, but wherever the hell they were. But everything about it. It makes me want it to keep coming. Just keep coming. You can keep telling these stories, because I love everything that they've added in to his
right. It shows Star Wars can work without these characters that we already know.
Yes. I like
and
the
it can
way
be
it's
popular.
working.
And it can be popular.
Do you think that the Jedi are actually gone? I always feel like they're not gone.
Luke is somewhere.
Right, Luke's around, but
he's off teaching students probably or something at this point. But it's about 6 years after Return of the Jedi. Yeah. So yeah, he's probably.
So is he the only one?
Does Baby Yoda get trained in the Force by Luke? Right. We don't know where this goes.
Are we sure it's not Yoda? We're sure it's not Yoda because he's dead.
yeah.
Like,
but it could be a clone of Yoda,
right? Like,
right? I mean, we have clones, the clone army. You could have a clone of Yoda.
Because people are like, well, he could technically still be alive. I'm like, yeah, but that would kind of ruin it, I would think.
Well, it can't be Yoda because, okay, so the child's 50 years old. If you do the math, the 50 years old is the same age as Anakin. Well, he was born the same year as Anakin then.
So I think he just exists. Like, I don't think there's, I don't know. Like, it obviously knows the Force because it uses it. Ugh.
And his species is rare. I mean, so
and
we don't know much about his species. Oh, he's so cool.
I just want one.
Yep. May. Apparently all this merch comes out in May.
Yeah. I saw a bunch of the Funko Pops are coming out and stuff like that. I mean,
yeah.
And he's starting to show up on like Etsy and stuff that people are recreating his stuff. And Disney's kind of thrown some stuff together. Turvis has some stuff thrown together.
Yeah, some quick stuff thrown together.
Oh yeah, but you can tell it's like Disney's is funny. It's like one of those.
It's a
they
production.
Took a square image and boom, there he is.
Yeah. It's on. It looks like something you get off Zazzle or Redbubble.
Yes, exactly right. Yep.
It's a it's not even a real picture of him. It's concept art that they put on there. But boy, oh boy, Mandalorian really good. Now you said you had some questions for me.
Yeah.
While we were talking about like, I guess, characters and stuff like that. What type of questions do you have? Like a list or anything that want to go through favorite characters or stuff?
I got one that I definitely want to ask you about because I don't think I've ever asked you. And I heard it the other day. Somebody posed the question to JJ actually. Do you think with all this stuff happening, obviously you haven't seen the last one, but like, do you think that this really is the end of the Skywalker?
No, I don't. They can intend it to be now, but I can't see it being the end. The only reason being is all these actors are so young. They could easily get them to. I mean, come on. Harrison, Carrie, and Mark all said they were done after 6. So we don't really know. And all it takes is Kathleen Kennedy to step down. They promote somebody else, and they say, I have an idea for 10, 11, and 12. And then you have 10, 11, and 12. She did just say in an interview, it doesn't mean they're ending these characters. It just means that they're ending the saga. Yeah. So I guess theoretically you could get storylines that would have been a 10, 11, and 12, but they're actually just called something else.
So like Finn, I always feel like
Finn, Rey, and Poe.
Finn and Poe getting their own show, kind of like when, what's his name? The new Captain America and what's his name?
Yeah, but Finn's, John Boyega said he's not going to do a Disney Plus show.
You don't think so?
He said he's not going to.
That's weird.
So, I mean, unless if he, I guess, has a downward career, maybe. But
speaking of which, and I did want to ask you this too, because I didn't. You probably have seen it. Did you see the thing with Josh Gad when he's trying to figure out what goes on in Rise of Skywalker? I was like, that's pretty funny because it's like all the Star Wars characters coming in, going, okay, like, come on, like, and John, she's like, John, you're in it. You know what happens.
Yeah. Well, you know, Mark was in it, and they said he said he had to get cut out of it because of spoilers.
Really?
Yeah, he must have dropped some spoilers in it. So for The Mandalorian, I really liked episode 6, chapter 6. I think that might be my favorite one now. There were so many cool shots, like the like the flashing lights behind Bill Burr's character as it was very Batman-esque there, how he was approaching him is so cool. I don't know.
Right behind him, like it's like, whoa, that's crazy. And like I really like the cast of characters. It almost had that Guardians kind of feel where where it's everybody's kind of in it for their own good, and they need to work together somehow to try to get out of the situation, but then they all try to turn on him, and then he's not such a big fan, which is really cool because like he seems like he's vulnerable, but yet he seems to outsmart most of them. So, and I really like, I want to ask you, like, how well do you think that I don't know the guy from games because I didn't watch Game of Thrones, but like he might be one of the best actors, and I don't know if it has a lot to do with like director cutting in and out, but his facial expressions, even with a mask on, is like the most impressive thing I've ever seen. Like the way that he's able to convey his
episode 4, he wasn't even the guy.
He wasn't
in the
in
mask.
it. Yeah. He wasn't in it.
So I don't know how much he's actually been in it, but
right.
Whoever it is underneath of there is doing a fantastic job with just so much emotion out of just mannerisms. And I don't know. I really have been enjoying the show. It's exactly what I want live action Star Wars to be. It's making me really excited for the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, which is going to be by Deborah Chow, who directed episode 3 or chapter 3 of The Mandalorian, and she's directing this Wednesday's episode as well. So, yeah, I mean, and Rick Famuyiwa, who did chapter 2 and chapter 6. He had 2 of the greatest episodes. He's been great, and actually, the X-Wing pilots at the end are Dave Filoni, who is the creator of Clone Wars and Rebels, and also directed episode 5 and episode 1 of the Mandalorian. He was one of the X-Wing pilots. Deborah Chow was one of the X-Wing pilots, and Rick Famuyiwa was the other X-Wing pilot. So pretty interesting how they had all 3 of them. The 3 that have had multiple episodes.
Yeah.
And we're getting episode 8 is Taika Waititi doing his directing, from Thor Ragnarok. So,
which was one of the best ones ever. So,
I'm excited. It's gonna be nuts.
He's so fascinating as a character, like because you don't know anything. I mean, obviously we're gonna get some kind of something here soon, but
we don't have a name. Everybody calls him Mando.
Yeah, like you kind of have his backstory, like something happened to where he used to live. Like it's been, he got ramps blown up.
He hates droids because during the Clone Wars, the Separatists came in with the droid armies and killed everybody. So we know now why he hates droids, which is a nice little wrinkle there. And he's probably saved by a Mandalorian, which is how he gets.
Yes.
Because we do see that part where they open up the hatch and it's the super battle droid about to hit him, and then he blows up. Which is actually very similar to this episode. I just picked up on that. Baby Yoda with the door, right?
Oh,
and the droid Zero, and he gets blasted from behind, and it's the Mandalorian saving him. That's probably how it happens. He's in this little bunker. It opens up, and the droid is there and gets blown up, and it's probably a Mandalorian.
Yeah, because Baby Yoda I think he's close to using the Force, but he doesn't have to because Mando's right behind him.
Oh, it was so hilarious when he looks at his hand like, I didn't know I could do that, and then it turns out it's a Mandalorian.
And I freaking love the meme because it was so funny when he's playing with the little like gadget on the ship, and he's like messing with it, and Mando takes it away from him.
It's
just like
or like changing the radio station. Like people have made like meme videos of him playing like Christmas, Last Christmas, and then like turning it off and on or whatever. This is what Star Wars needed. This is what's mending the way that they care. This is what's mending the split fan base right now. Is this series, and it's amazing.
Back on, like I haven't met one person that doesn't like absolutely loves Mandalorian. Like I've not heard somebody say, "Oh no, I like it." I heard people only say, "I love it. I love it. I love Mando. I love his kind of mysterious being. I like that it feels like old Star Wars where you just get these cool storylines, and even like the interactions he has with the Sand people, like." That's cool because it's just kind of like that's what back when Luke and them were around, and just kind of having those interactions.
Yeah, and what's cool about
people.
his interactions too is that he knows their language. He knows their sign language, and you get to see a different side of the Tusken Raiders because Anakin calls them animals, and he kills them like animals. But you actually see they have their own culture, their sign language. They're
negotiating.
So these are actually very human people that Anakin. Killed and stuff. So it kind of adds some new wrinkles that.
Dude, he killed children. He didn't care who.
I know. But even episode 2, he was still seen as the good guy, right? I mean, so I think it's cool seeing a wrinkle there.
Like, do you think that there's like Jabba like people still? Like Jabba?
Oh, the Hutts. I think they got taken out of Tatooine, but there are tons of Hutts probably still around somewhere.
Because I was gonna say, I wonder when we start to run into some not familiar characters, but like familiar types
Species,
like Yoda.
Right,
yeah. Because, you run into the Stampede, you run into the different characters and cast. Yeah. Right. I mean, Mandalorians and stuff like that. But it'd just be interesting to see how they all connect. And they said that it's, every time you talk, like the Favreau talks stuff, he says that, and I don't know if you heard this, there's actually some kind of tie in between this and what's happening in Rise of Skywalker. And
that's what people say. I've never seen any real source. The source I see is some sort of description or something saying that it's going to play almost like a special preview of the Rise of Skywalker on this Wednesday's episode.
Maybe that's what it is. Yeah,
that's what I think it's going to be trying to get people to go to the theater. I think that's what it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be anything big.
Unless there's a Mandalorian in Rise. I mean, that could just be literally it, because JJ likes to do that, where there literally could be a Mandalorian.
Right.
Some kind of Mandalorian in the new. But
we didn't even get to talk about yet. Like at the end of Chapter 5, there's boots that walk over to Fennec Shand, who's laying face down, and people have listened to it, and it plays the same spurs sound that Boba has, and the same radio frequency sound that Boba is known for, but Boba doesn't wear a full cape. I don't think it's actually Boba Fett. I think it's Giancarlo Esposito's character.
I do too,
Moff Gideon, who's probably going to be the big bad of the finale. I think that's probably where we're getting that.
I was going to say, I like what they did. They took a break from that happening, went with almost kind of like an independent direction with Mando, kind of like this side mission. Kind of like the video games we play, like it's got like the side mission, and then you can get back to like, here's who that was, because it doesn't happen overnight. You don't go and find the villain overnight, because that's, but I've got the Facebook live stream thing going on right now, Jordan. You should see it.
I got it, the world premiere.
Yeah,
that looked cool, right? The way that they did all the letters and stuff. Yeah,
it looks like they're in space. It's cool. That's crazy. I can't believe we're on another Star Wars movie again. This is crazy.
It's insane.
I'm finally glad that Matt likes it, though, because it gives me something to go watch it with.
Oh, and we'll announce this here, too. We're going to have Matt, who's our friend. If people don't, we keep referencing him. Nobody knows who he is. Matt is our former roommate. We're all former roommates, but and he just recently got into it. We're going to have Matt on. We're going to have you on. And we're going to have a recap of Rise of Skywalker as our next episode spoiler review. Man, this is insane. Just watching. I watch this every year that they have one of these.
It's great, because you get to see all the cast come together and kind of almost like not give it away, but almost like get you excited and anticipate what's going on, because they ask you questions. Yep.
This is great podcasting, by the way.
Live podcasting.
We're talking about the world premiere it's supposed to start at 8:30. It just kicked off at like 9:00. Right? What time is it?
Yeah, it's
8:49.
It's been buffering forever.
Yeah, it's a little late. Here's a good question. Who would be your droid companion while exploring the galaxy. 3PO, R2, BB-8, or Dio, who's the new droid.
Definitely
R2 for me.
Yeah, definitely R2. Because I like sassy. I feel like C-3PO would annoy me. I feel like I get annoyed with him. Our BB-8 is just kind of there for me. Like, he doesn't really do much. He's kind of like immature R2, I guess.
See, I think he was really great in Force Awakens, and again in Last Jedi, he had nothing to do. He didn't get a chance to really do anything in the Last Jedi.
Right. But no, definitely R2.
So how about your favorite character?
Favorite character. See, I've been thinking about this one, and I think I've decided it's Rey. Like, Rey is my favorite. I don't know why.
Really?
Like,
out of all the movies?
Yeah, I had some kind of a semi crush on her when the Force Awakens came out. But yeah,
your days as a single man.
Yeah, it was right before Ashley. 2015? I think it was kind of like when I was in that dating phase.
Yeah, but you guys were dating when I was in line for Force Friday.
Yeah.
But you had seen the previews of Daisy Ridley anyway.
Yes.
So, there you go.
I had semi crush on her when she came out. So, but yeah, like I just like the way that she portrays a character. Like I just really like everything about her. Like I loved what she did in Force Awakens because it's my favorite one, and it's because of her you get a lot of her in Force Awakens. So, who's your favorite?
I mean, my favorite is I really like Obi-Wan.
Yeah. Yeah, see, he's up there too. And I tell you what, Mandalorian's growing on me.
He's pretty great. Baby Yoda's great.
He's so awesome.
Yeah, I'm trying to think though here. Probably Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Just because he spans the original and the prequel trilogy. I really like
Obi-Wan. Qui-Gon.
Qui-Gon's great.
Qui-Gon, yeah.
If we're talking the new characters, I really like Kylo. I'm a Kylo fanboy.
Yeah. I'm a bigger Kylo than anybody else. Like, people love Maul. I get it. He's cool. He's very funky.
Kylo's mask is just
Kylo's
so much better.
So dynamic, too.
And conflicted. That's what I like about him.
So different. So much going on with him.
Different.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. There's just something about Kylo when I look at his mask and stuff. It's like, he's cool.
Yeah, you know what? Jar Jar Binks is by far my favorite character.
So. I was about to say he's my favorite as well.
Yeah, he's my favorite, least favorite.
I like Jar Jar. I do. I just don't like. I think he's over the top in Phantom Menace. I think all of the jokes at his expense. They were trying to replicate 3PO, who's funny, but they did a lot more kid humor than just regular humor, I guess. I don't know. But
you know who I like? What's the dude? Crap. What's the guy's name? The guy that owns Anakin.
Watto?
Yeah. I actually like him, like, as a character.
Only money.
He's mean, man. He reminds me of a guy that I teach with, the way that he talks. But
really?
Yeah, there's a guy that's from Egypt that has kind of a similar accent. But I really do. I really liked him because that's my favorite part of Phantom Menace. That might be my favorite part of the whole the new trilogy was the
prequels.
Was the pod racing. I loved pod racing when we were little. We had the video game.
Yeah. That was a good game.
Yeah, because then it was really advanced too. It was like it would one of the pods it would blink red one side of your ship, like one of your side of your racer would blink red, and then all of a sudden it would blow up, but you could still go without it. It was pretty realistic. So.
Yeah, I really liked the duel at the end of episode 1. That was my favorite as a kid. I used to just fast forward to that part.
Yeah.
It was I don't know, just something about I mean, the fights are good, right? But I mean, like, it's part of it. Some of it's a little bit too choreographed, you know.
Yeah. He looks like he's dancing.
Right.
Darth Maul does.
I do like that. I really wish they hadn't originally killed Darth Maul off, because I think he would have been cooler for episodes 2 and 3. We got this really cool character with a double-bladed lightsaber, and he immediately gets killed. It kind of was not good.
Yeah.
But any other questions? We kind of answered favorite droid, favorite
heavy
movie.
Ones. Yeah. I think we hit the heavy ones. But yeah, I know we'll probably do the run through again with Matt. So
yeah, we'll have to ask him his answers to a lot of these same questions.
I definitely want to see how he ranks. I mean, I know I saw his rankings, but I want to see how he actually ranks them.
Yeah, and his rankings were very different than both of ours.
His taste is a little bit different than ours. He doesn't really he doesn't like the he doesn't really like the original trilogy as much as I think we did. Because I remember when I talked to him because I went to Epcot and he had just finished all of them. And
he has the original trilogy in his top 3 or 4, I think, right? I mean,
but he said like they were slow at times, and I was like, the older ones are slower, just because there's not as much like CGI, so they had to fill it with actual acting. Like, I don't know how to explain that. Like,
it was a very different time. Yeah.
Like, movies have really progressed since then. So, but I think that his are. He does like Force Awakens, but it'll be interesting to see.
That was the first one he'd seen. I remember he had saw that when it originally came out.
Yeah, which would be really. I mean, honestly, you kind of know who Chewbacca and Han are, even in passing. Like, you kind of understand who they are. I mean, Star Wars is so big, it's hard not to know. You know, here's Darth Vader. He's your father. Here's
Matt's list. I can give you Matt's list, and we can have him defend it when he comes on.
True.
Number 1 was Empire Strikes Back. Number 2 was Revenge of the Sith. Number 3 was Rogue One. Number 4, A New Hope. Number 5, Return of the Jedi. Number 6, Solo. Number 7, Force Awakens. Number 8, Phantom Menace. Number 9, Last Jedi. Number 10, Attack of the Clones.
Yeah, so all the...
See, I was shocked by that, because he had said he liked The Last Jedi, but then it was lower than Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
So it was just, maybe he really likes Phantom Menace. I don't know.
Phantom Menace is number 1 on his list, his actual list.
Yeah, I don't know. It is interesting to see how everybody, everybody's favorite is somebody's least favorite is what I say.
Mm-hmm.
Which is just the world we live in, I guess. Which is good. You don't want everybody to be the same.
No. I want to argue with you that Last Jedi was one of the worst movies I've ever seen. And no purpose whatsoever.
And I'll tell you, you're wrong. One of the best movies I've ever seen.
This movie's going to make me look like a jerk, too. This movie's going to, like, explain all of it. I'm going to go, well, now it makes sense. I just didn't feel like it moved the progression along. But that's just my opinion.
I think it did in ways that you're not probably
aware of yet.
I mean, even if you are aware of it, I think both of you are maybe looking more like, no, I mean, things haven't changed too much, but I think character-wise, their growth has changed.
I guess.
I know you say Poe hasn't changed. He has, to me. He learns that he can't, be the same recklessness he was originally, and became a better leader.
Yeah. I do feel like Kylo hasn't moved.
He doubled down. That's what I liked about it. He doubled down. He had the chance again to be like, I'm going to be good, and she
he's
gave
shown
him that
you
chance.
That he's just bad, I guess.
But
I don't know.
He had a chance there, He had a chance to say, I'm going to be good, but he chose not to. She gave him the option there, and then he's like, no, you just come with me and we'll both be. But yeah, have you watched it since you saw it in theaters? Or
I have
That's what I'm
not
curious.
because it was so bad.
Yeah. I'm curious.
I was like, I've been dreading it, but I'm going to because I'm rewatching him now. Because I think if I rewatch him, like Ashley works like real late on Friday, because I was gonna try to get all the ones done without the independent spinoffs because I don't really need those. But
yeah.
I was gonna try to get the originals done and then the prequels and then get. I wanna watch Last Jedi again by Friday, just to see if it really was as bad as I remember. Because remember, I was the one that I didn't really like Endgame when I came
Me
out
too.
the first time.
I mean, I liked it, but it
wasn't like the thing
yeah.
I like now. Like I love Endgame, but it took
that's
me
what
twice
I was trying to explain this over text, and it didn't probably come across well. But when Matt was saying that he hopes it wraps up well because of episode 6 had a really good ending, I said, well, I have to see it. I'll have to see it twice that weekend probably because it'll be so surreal that it's ending. And that's kind of what happened to Endgame. Yeah. Yes, Marvel's continuing, but I literally... But
those characters you grew up with.
I was rejecting what I was seeing with my eyes. I was like, Tony's dying. Cap is old. It was
and who the hell are all these new people?
It was weird to see. Like, I wasn't against it, but I was like, I can't believe I'm seeing the end type of thing. And I think I'm going to have the same reaction with this. So I think I'm going to have to see it again to be like, once I go in knowing what happens, it's a lot easier.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to deal with. So
yeah, because I know I'm gonna see it again Monday because Ashley will work and I'll be off with nothing to do. So I'll probably go Monday to watch it again because I'll know. I just have this weird feeling I'm gonna love this one.
I hope so. I hope you do.
You already know
it'll
how
be
it
a
ends.
bummer. It'll be a bummer if I like it and you two are just ripping it to shreds on.
That's true.
Review.
That's true. I'm actually hoping that we all like it. I'm hoping that we all get something out of it. I'm worried for you though. Like I feel like you know stuff that you're not sharing that you're not thrilled with.
I don't know. I think I am okay with what I saw, and I think.
Is it really that big of a plot point? Like.
Yeah.
You think it is? Okay. Yeah. Like I'm guessing it has to do with Palpatine because it came up while we were talking about him.
It has to do with two separate things.
Okay.
I've seen 2 images.
Okay, so you're gonna have to tell me. Mark that down on there. Mark that on our big whiteboard for ideas.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll have to tell you about it. But I mean, it was what was I gonna say? It's gonna be different. It's gonna be very different. I think
now I'm anticipating it, man. I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
I think I'll be okay, and the reason why I think I'll be okay is because I do not hate a single Star Wars film. I love all of them. I roll with whatever
they all
give
have their
me.
Yeah.
A lot of
I
times.
will agree. They all have their pluses.
I am the most easygoing guy when it comes to franchises I like. I go in there and I say, show me some cool stuff, and I'll if you pull it off, I'll believe what you're trying to do. Yeah. And for me, I enjoy. There's some stuff I've been hard on. My wife could not stand probably when I was catching up on Once Upon a Time. I was ripping season 3 apart. Of that show, I was just ripping that apart because part of my creative writing brain takes over, and I say, "Oh, this is what I would do. This is what I would do." I don't think about it a lot like that when I go see Star Wars or Marvel films. I say, I'm not the writer, and I try not to get too invested in my fan theories.
Yeah.
Either, because when you get invested in a fan theory, if it doesn't match your expectation, you end up rejecting it. Yeah. So I go in and I'm just going to go in and say this is how the Skywalker saga is going to end, and I'm hopefully going to enjoy it.
Mm.
I hope I like it. I really do. Because like I said, I've not hated a film yet. So
yeah.
I've never walked out of a movie theater ever and wish I had gotten my money back or not gone to the movie. So I usually pick them pretty well.
Like I didn't walk out throwing crap at the screen, but I did walk out going, what was the point of that?
I know. You texted me immediately, said I hated it.
Yeah, I came out. I was like outside of the theater with the guy that was crazy anyway, but I was like going, what? But like, why?
Oh yeah, you went and saw it with somebody, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, and this guy ended up being crazy. But
Really?
yeah, he ended up like committing fraud and all sorts of stuff with our school. He got in a lot of
Wow.
trouble. But yeah, maybe that's what ruined it for me.
Yeah, maybe.
So I'm gonna watch it again. I'll give it another try because I haven't watched it. I've only watched it once.
And every time I sit down and watch it, I think maybe this is the time I'll see the flaws that Logan and Matt and everybody else see. And I don't. I mean, I do see in the sense of like people complaining about Luke's character. I like what they did with I like what they did with it, but I can see why people don't. But some of the stuff I don't really doesn't bother me. I know that humor at points bothers both of you. It doesn't bother me that much. It might bother me more with age, but here's the thing. I'd rather have Poe's your mom joke than the Jar Jar poop and farting jokes, to be honest. So I'm fine with it in that sense. Because watching episode 1, which I do adore, there are some very juvenile humor that I think most people would say didn't fit in Star Wars, but it's part of Star Wars now. So
it's true.
Yeah, I guess we should probably start wrapping this up.
Yeah, well, I'm just gonna wait till Monday until my friend joins me in studio so we can argue about Last Jedi.
Yeah. I'll have to be like deflecting bullets back with my lightsaber here.
Right. You better hope we both like Rise of Skywalker and you do too.
Oh jeez. I can't imagine if I am the only one that likes it. I'm gonna be like fighting on both sides here. I'll be like, Last Jedi's great. Rise of Skywalker's great.
Matt and I are like in tandem often. So
yeah. So I'm a little worried about that.
We'll see how it goes.
So anybody wants to
jump on with Jordan?
Yeah, we'll also I'll get my whole crew back from last time. And we'll corner you guys.
Gang up on me again.
I tried to be fair enough. I thought you got enough time to say stuff, right? I don't think.
No, you definitely did. Because I think was it Andrew that you had on?
Yeah.
Yeah, Andrew saw it more so than even you did. I think the flaws.
Yeah, I think so too. He liked it, but
he liked it, but he saw more of what you saw too. But
so I guess we'll talk. It's so weird to say that the next time we talk, Logan, we're gonna be discussing this movie and another episode of The Mandalorian.
I gotta stay away. Yeah, I gotta stay away from freaking Facebook and Twitter, and because I saw Olaf died, and I don't want to see that again. So
spoilers for Frozen 2 there.
Yeah. Yeah, what the heck? Sorry.
Oh yeah. I was spoiled on that part too.
Yeah.
Oh boy, I was on Frozen leaks.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
I was actually waiting outside of Kristen Bell's house. And,
yeah.
Oh wait, no, that wasn't me.
No,
friend.
Don't hit me with the stalker charge, please.
Right.
But I'm excited. I'm ready to see this movie. I don't think it really will be the end.
No.
It may be the intended end, but just like Luke says, no one's ever really gone. I don't think the saga's ever really gone. I think, like I said, all it takes is 10 years from now, and they say, let's try to bring these characters back. And it's so easy to market an episode 10.
Mm-hmm.
Star Wars X. It's going to be... I think you can market that. I don't think it's that big of a problem. But I think also after we're done Rise of Skywalker, I think there's another episode we can do what's it called? A future of Star Wars, where we kind of talk about what to look forward to going forward, what the next movies could possibly be. And we'll kind of talk about that maybe after Rise of Skywalker at some point.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for checking us out. Here's where you can reach us. I just created all these new social accounts that
we're back.
Twitter at Pod Awakens, Facebook.com/Pod Awakens, Instagram at Pod Awakens, email us at podawakens@gmail.com. Guess what? Those were all available. No problem there. And let us know your thoughts. I might even be able to get where we can have people leave voicemails. Ooh, so maybe some people can do that and we can listen to them at some point. But everybody enjoy the movie. That sounds so weird to say.
Yes.
But we will see you on the next side, the side where this movie exists and can be debated. Oh, that's kind of...
That's crazy.
That's crazy. So everybody enjoy the rest of the Rise of Skywalker. And we'll catch y'all after that.
May the Force be with you.
Always.